The Pension Reform Act passed under a Democratic Senate. How did that happen, and how do you justify coming out against it now?
Oh, I don't think I need to justify it. I think that this got plugged into something at the last minute. People knew what they were doing. It was designed to divide and conquer. And you know what? Anything that we did, we can undo when we find out we've done something wrong. One of the problems here is people don't do that enough. They don't say, that didn't work, let's stop doing it.
Would you like to see the White House get involved in the issue?
Absolutely. I'd like to see anybody get involved in this issue. I think the entire Senate should be involved in this issue. This is a human tragedy. What's happening to these pensioners is a human tragedy. And when you spend time like I have listening to the stories, you can't but be compelled to absolutely do something that changes the outcome.
Just want to make sure I heard you right. So you're coming out against, you're using the term anti-union jihad? Is that what you, the term you
I don't know what I said. I just talked up there.
Okay.
You are.
Just asking. Asking.
Well, I see so many Republicans here that have this anti-union, they attack unions, they attack collective bargaining. They went after collective bargaining in my state, their right to work, they're against prevailing wage, and we need them on board.
We had two here so far, Portman and we had Grass.
I'm glad they're here. I want them to do other things too.
Now this rule,
Who are you?
though,
You are
Nick Bowsey with PJ Media, online news site.
Okay.
I just want to ask you real quick, the rule though that passed, right, was under a Democratic Senate.
They're not perfect. I understand that.
The fact that the law that permitted these benefit cuts was largely done behind closed doors only adds to the frustration and breeds cynicism that too many Americans have about what goes on here in Washington. Washington is an island surrounded by reality. As one of those who has championed transparency in government, and I think I have that reputation, I say the public's business ought to be public. And probably at the time that I voted against this legislation in 2014, I didn't have the slightest idea that it would have the impact that it did, but it makes my vote against it, against cutting these pensions, all the more reasonable vote to have cast.
Why do you think more Republicans should come out and support the Teamsters retirees' pensions?
Well, I would think I would not only be supporting Teamsters for what I'm doing, I'm supporting the principle that the public's business ought to be public, and that this stuff that was done, we don't know what happened. We need to get the facts out, not only to help the Teamsters, but also to make sure that our bureaucrats execute the law the way they're supposed to, and that people like this don't get hurt in the future.
This is not a public pension. This is a private pension. This is Central States. Mm-hmm. I said up there, you heard me say, we all know Central States is in trouble. And, not everybody maybe wants to hear that, but it's true. They know that. The people in Ohio know that. They get that. They know something's got to be done, but this is not fair. One, it's totally unfair in terms of process, not to give them a chance to have a seat at the table, not to have transparency, to do it in the middle of the night when nobody knows what the heck it is. I would guess if you were to ask senators, most of them probably didn't know it was in that bill. And yet it affects these guys in incredibly devastating ways, like a 70% cut of some of these guys. I talked to one guy today, 60% cut. His home payment, his car payment, he was expecting it for, supplementing his Medicare, his health care. So I think that's the issue. It's not a state of Illinois public pension type issue. This is just to give them a seat at the table so that you can have a fair result.